if somebody stole your name, your social, or your bank account information, you would do everything you could to get that back, to repair the damage that was done. But what if someone stole your information before you were even old enough to know you had an identity to steal? Or better yet, what if the identity that you spent your entire life protecting wasn't even your real identity? Let's talk about that. Come for a ride with me. Ready? Here we go. Welcome to Running with Scissors. This is episode 3 of the Cage-Bound series. If you haven't listened before, please make sure you go check out the first 2 episodes. That way you kind of know what we're going into. So in the last episode, we talked about getting out of the cage, and the last thing I said was basically discovering who you are. So in this episode, we're going to talk about identity. And when I talked about just a few seconds ago, talked about identity theft, and what if the identity that you spent your entire life wasn't your real identity? That was kind of a big one, wasn't it? Well, we're going to get into it. But first, let me just ease your mind by letting you know that though I am driving and talking to you, I am a safe driver. Although I'm recording right now, I am hands-free while I'm doing it. My phone is mounted, and I don't touch my phone while I'm recording. I don't start recording until I put my or I start recording before I put my car in drive. That way I don't do anything at all with my phone. Also, I'm not a professional. I don't have any licenses. I'm not a psychologist or anything like that. Everything I talk about today is based on my own personal experience. I did do crisis and suicide intervention counseling while I was active duty in the military, but it's my own personal experience that I derive my own information from. Please make sure that if you have children around, that they are mature enough to listen to heavy topics, okay? So no young children, mature audience only. So when I had first joined the military, I learned very quickly about the identity change process. Right away, as soon as you get off the bus and enter basic training, you are shocked into a whole different environment, right? Like, obviously, you've probably seen movies. If you're not a veteran, you probably have a pretty good idea of what the stigma is about, right? Like, you've seen movies or heard stories about getting yelled at, and probably heard jokes and everything, but you're getting yelled at and rushed at, and you're fast walking into lines, and you're getting basically you're treated like cattle from one place to another. Yeah, it's true. you're you're basically shuttled off everywhere. Um, it it really is quite a shock. You are, if you're a man, you're shaved, your head is shaved, and if you wear glasses, you get issued glasses that basically look like everybody else's glasses. And there's a nickname for those glasses, excuse me. The nickname for the glasses are BCGs, or they're short for birth control glasses, because they don't look cute at all. Now, current day BCGs are pretty nice, but back when I joined, they were not so nice. They were very nerdy, and everybody's glasses looked the same. So that's whether you're male or female, you had the same glasses just about. So anyway, you're given uniforms, and the only difference between men and women's uniforms are the way that they fit on you. They all look the same, down to the underwear. Everything is changed about you. You're wearing what the military issues you. So you're stripped from your old identity, and you are given a new identity. Everything from your physical appearance to your culture, your core values, even your name. Now, they don't give you a new name, but they give you a title. The title is trainee for the Air Force. I was in the Air Force. So you basically lose your first name. You are not called by your first name at all while you are in basic training. Your first name is trainee. You keep your last name. But that's basically one of your first things. Your physical appearance is different. Your name is different. You take on a new set of core values, and you learn that it's embedded in you. You obtain a new ID card, which is your military ID card. Your diet is changed. Your routine is changed. Your what else? Your sleep schedule is changed. Everything is changed about you. So your whole identity is different, right? And this is going to last for the entirety of your basic training. And then you're going to move on to your technical training, which is going to teach you how to do your job, and that can last for months. And then you go on to your first duty station, and you're going to learn or you're going to carry forward what you learned from basic training into your first duty station. Now, you're going to keep some of your old ways before training. You're going to keep some of that, but you're also going to carry forward a lot of what you learned in the military, and you're going to combine them. But now, in your career as a military member, that's going to take a lot of your identity, and it's going to mold you. And now you are a new person. And if you stay in for a long time, you are no longer that old person. You are now a combination. This is a whole identity change. And then, if, like me and many others, You stay in until retirement. When you leave the military, you have to learn how to adjust to life outside of the military. That means you're going to take on another new identity. And you're going to have to learn how to shed your ways in active duty. For women, you no longer have to put your hair in a bun if you don't have short hair. You're going to have to learn that you can wear your hair down during the week. You don't have to put it up in a bun and keep that tight hairstyle anymore. You don't have to do that. If you can wear your nails polished in colors you want to. You can put on more makeup. You can change your different clothes style. It's pretty drastic, the change that comes. You don't have to call people sir or ma'am. You can get used to hearing your first name again. It's amazing the change you go through, and it is a change. Some people cannot handle the change for a long time. There's actually a program that is a mandatory, it's a requirement that you cannot skip when you retire. You have to go through a transitional assistance program to leave the military, because life is different. People go through crisis when they leave the military because of the identity change. Now, your identity is significant, even outside. If I'm just using the military as an example. Before you were born, while you were in your mother's womb, this is for many people, not for all, okay? For many people, while they were in their mother's womb, their mother contemplated what to name them. There's a lot of thought that goes into the name of a baby. Maybe some people read through baby name books to try to find a name that meant brave or beautiful or divine. And they looked through names for baby girls or boys. And they wrote down a whole list of names, and then maybe they ranked the names, their favorites, 1 to 10. And then over time they crossed it down, or crossed off the list down to the top 5. Or maybe it was a cultural thing. Or maybe it was a family tradition, that every boy had to have this one particular name as a middle name or second name. But there's a lot of contemplation behind the name for many people, because a name means something to many people and many cultures, many countries. Even in biblical times, especially in biblical times, a name means something. A lot of people in the Bible changed their names because of an event that happened that was significant, and so they had to change their name. Or they changed their name for a different purpose that their life had. I'm currently writing a fiction book, and to name my characters, even just to name my characters, I would look through books, like baby name books, to choose the names based on what the name meant. It's a lot of meaning that comes with a name, a lot of contemplation. For one of my sons, his name has two meanings depending on the country. One of the names is very adorable, is so cute. And another meaning of the names for a different country is very fierce. And for my other son, I haven't really revealed to him what his name means, because it would probably go to his head. But his name means gift from God, and I thought he was my gift from God, is my gift from God. But I haven't told him that, because he would probably believe that in a different way, let it go to his head, because it means something. Because on your driver's license, if you get too many points taken away after having been pulled over too many times, you can lose your access to driving. You can lose your privileges to driving. Your identity can give you access to your bank account, gives you access to your money, and so it can give you access to your worth. Those of us who were or still are in your cage have been given many names. Many names that you shouldn't have. Many names that you're holding on to that you shouldn't have. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about denouncing those names. We're going to be talking about getting rid of names that didn't belong to us. We're going to be talking about getting rid of the identity that we should never have had. Identities that we've taken on, that we believe belong to us at one point, that don't belong to us, never should have. But because we believe them, we've lived them. We were named them, and so we became them. So we're going to reclaim who we should have been, who we were meant to be, perhaps who we want to be, who we could be. What is this identity I'm talking about? What is this identity that doesn't belong to us? I know somebody who as a little kid, as a cute little kid, was called the chunky one. Chunky. So cute, so chunky as a baby. You ever hear that? You ever, harmless, right? You think harmless, cute little chunky baby. Everybody hears that. Well, the only difference was as she got a little bit older, the name stuck. And there were a few little babies in this family, each of them different, but she remained the chunky one. And this family, the extended family, aunts and uncles, grandparents, they didn't necessarily have a very healthy, not tradition, but they didn't have healthy bonds. There was a lot of secrets in this family. And for this girl, she was given the name Chunky One. So fat, so cute, thick girl. She's going to be the strong one because she's such a thick girl. As she got older, she was still the thick girl. Now, in reality, she was an average size kid. But in her eyes, she was fat. And as she got into middle school, in her eyes, she was fat. And the family still called her the fat girl, the chunky girl, the thick girl. She was the strong one. She could handle it. She would be played rough with because she was a thick girl. Again, she was an average sized girl. But when she went into high school, she started becoming bulimic. She had an eating disorder. Because all her friends looked prettier than her and skinnier than her. And she thought she was not skinny enough. And so she thought that no matter what she did, she would have to try to be skinnier. The only thing she could do, she was into sports, but it didn't seem to help her because family just, the label stuck. Family just still referred to her as the thick girl. They didn't really call her the chunky one anymore because that was cute. That was a little girl thing. She was the thick girl now. Well, then at some point she just kind of gave up and she let herself become obese. She just kind of gave in. You know, why fight it? She became obese. And she just believed that no matter what, she was just going to be the fat girl. That's who she was destined to be. See, when people name us, and they name us enough, and it comes with reinforcements, and when I say reinforcements, I mean they'll show us proof. And it doesn't have to be real. The proof doesn't have to be real, especially when you're young, when you're a child. It doesn't have to be real proof. It just has to be something else besides words. It can be another person's words. Anything else. Over and over again, you believe the name. And it doesn't even have to be words. It doesn't even have to be a name. If you're neglected, the actions or lack thereof tell you that you're not cared for. And so then you believe you're unworthy and unlovable. And that's your name. And so you're going to believe it. And you're going to become it. And you're going to choose people in your life who are not going to love you and not going to care for you. And you're in your cage now. Do you see the connection? We're not gonna start to blame in this episode. That's not the intent. What we are doing though is we're digging a little deep. Okay? We're just doing some digging. We just want to look back a little further into our identity that's keeping us in this cage. We're looking and we're seeing the bars and asking, who am I? And why am I still locked in here when the door is open? You remember my bird, Corwin, how long it took him to come out of his cage. It was because he believed he still belonged there when that door was open for a long time. He didn't trust anybody out there because all he knew was fear, and that he was only worthy of dirty water, filthy food, and those bars. I want you to challenge what you were called, because all of those names you were given, I don't care what they were, if it's not on your birth certificate and it's keeping you locked in your cage, it is a false identity. Okay? If it is not on your birth certificate and it is keeping you locked in this cage, it is a false identity. Claim your true identity. By reframing those names. And you can reframe those names by challenging the motives behind those namers. Why did somebody tell you that you were unworthy of love when they failed to love you? I'd argue that they failed to love you because they were unable and unwilling. And that is a them problem, not a you problem. Why did somebody tell you that you were ugly? I'd argue they told you that to hurt you because there's something wrong with them, and that is a them problem, not a you problem. Spend some time challenging the motives behind the people who named you. Because if it's not on your birth certificate and it is keeping you in your cage, it is a false identity. Who is the real you? How do you reclaim the person you were meant to be? That is a journey that is going to be worth going for a ride. I'm not going to teach that, but I will plant some seeds. Before I married my first husband, I was very artistic and I loved to write. While I was married to my first husband, I believed I was stupid and I was slow. I couldn't trust myself to make decisions. I was boring. I was empty. I had no sense of humor. I couldn't cook. I couldn't clean. I was lazy. Once I got to get therapy while I was in the middle of a divorce in my second marriage, it was beautiful getting to find out who I really was. And I remembered that I loved to draw when I was a kid. I remembered that I used to love to write, and I started to write. It was weird because it was like saying hello to an old friend, but it was fun. And so I would encourage you to start saying hi to the little person that you once were. I would encourage you to picture yourself as a kid again. And maybe giving that kid a hug. And ask that little kid what they used to like to do. And you don't have to tell anybody, but maybe pick up some old hobbies. And don't be ashamed. And then try to keep in mind that there are a few things. There's a few things that build character. I was once told by someone very wise. There are a few things that build character, and they are the books you read, the music you listen to, and the people you hang out with. And they can influence your character a great deal. And there are plenty of resources out there. You can Google them. Plenty of character assessments and personality quizzes and all sorts of fun things you can do. There's too many. Start small. Meet your childhood before the trauma. If you can go back, dig deep and hard and find that little kid, because they're in there. He or she is in there. You can find him again. And it might hurt. It might hurt a little bit. It'll be bittersweet, because you might dig through some sad memories, So there's going to be some hurt, because you guys had been through some hard stuff together. But that little kid deserves to be acknowledged. You deserve to remember what it was like to be so innocent. You deserve to remember, You deserve to remember what it was like outside the trauma. And you can find the beauty. Look for the silly stuff. So to reclaim your identity, you've got to get rid of that false identity. So to do that first, challenge the motives behind the namers who gave you that false identity. Do that. Because they lied to you. They lied to you, and you stayed in that cage. You don't belong there. You remember what I said last time? You're not a monster. You're not a wild animal. And you're not a prisoner. You don't belong in that cage. And you stayed in that cage under a false identity. So you took on those horrible names. You believed lies that were told to you, whether through actions or through words. And you didn't deserve them. But you can get rid of those names. And you can figure out who the real you is. And you can take on your real identity by meeting the little child before trauma. And you're stronger. You're stronger for that trauma. You've been through it. You've been through some stuff. You survived it. You are no longer a victim. You've gone through it. You don't have to be there anymore. Thank you for listening to Running with Scissors. Please don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, share this. Come back for next week's episode. We'll see you next time.